What's going on, guys? I'm Stanley Reed, owner of Clean Cut Elite. This is Business to Fitness podcast. And as always, the purpose of this particular podcast is to encourage, motivate, and inspire the listeners of this podcast. I'm with a very special guest, Jay Jennings, who has done a tremendous job. And I want you guys to hear his story. He's a wonderful guy, kind of remind me of a father figure, a granddad, and all of the knowledge that we share with each other. And it's always just good to hear different perspectives on life. Mr. J, we're going to get right into it. We've been working out for about 6 months now.
Correct.
Can you take us through the first day you walked in the doors?
We had a little business arrangement before. I was doing some home inspections, which is my business now since I've gotten out of 44 years of remodeling with Jennings Construction Company. During those 44 years, I figured as I grew older that my exercise was my work. That was my passion. That's what I did. And as I got into my 60s, which I am now 67, I believed that exercise was in and out of trucks, walking the jobs, but during this inspection, come to find out my client was Stanley Reed. And when I came to discuss the inspection with him, I decided that I wanted to be interviewed for his expertise, which is in the physical training. And my lack of having any physical education or playing sports, I needed to have a structured, supervised exercise program.
Right. So we talked a little bit about this a couple days ago, and you were saying something about like the initial interview being you said that was good.
Correct.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
It was important to me that I have joined a couple of different clubs around to initiate my own exercise program, and I found out that just joining the clubs doesn't do the trick. I need to go in and have a program for my particular size, abilities, and work on stuff, not just building muscle, but flexibility, balance. And it was important to me to find the right person that I could hold accountable as my teammate in this most recent endeavor and experience for helping me at my age.
Okay. So, like Mr. J said, he's 67 years old, and one of the things that we don't want to do is to make it seem like we're trying to sell you on something. Again, the purpose of this particular podcast is for you to grab what you need and leave the rest. One of the things that I like about Mr. J is he already had the strong will, right? He just needed to be around the right group of people. Um, he has a prosthetic hip and he has a bad back. So those are some of the things that we needed to make sure that we were aware of when training Mr. J. Uh, so Mr. J, can you talk to us a little bit about overcoming those elements?
During the first interview, everything went as I thought, just a view of the premises, talking to Stanley about his abilities, talking to Stanley also about my worries physically. And then the second interview, his phrase, "I may need to hold you back." That was important to me when I understood what he was trying to say, because I wanted to overwork. I wanted to jump right in and do more than I was physically capable of doing. And Stanley has been instrumental in watching my growth physically and mentally through this process. And I can say that out of 6 months, I've never done the same routine in here twice.
Right.
It has been a varied routine to help me with my balance, my flexibility, and endurance. And I have over a period of time in different phases of that 6 months found that going up steps, I'm not using the rail as much as I was. When I'm walking, doing my everyday job, which is home inspections, my balance is 100% better, although it's not 100%, but we're working on that.
All right. So the first time you came in the door, what would you think would be the most thing that you were weary about?
Measuring up to whatever the requirements were to do the job, to the workout. A little worry about the possibility of overworking and then having to recover, which has been of Stanley's utmost guidance and why I needed the personal supervision so that I didn't have to recover from individual difficulties that I produced on myself without the supervision.
Right. It sounds like what I hear you saying, Mr. J, is I know me. You saying I know you, and because you know you, you know that because your tendencies to overwork or work hard, get in there and just do something, you need someone there to kind of keep you within due bounds.
That's correct. Just a simple phrase. People have asked me how old I am, and I say I'm a man of many ages. My back sometimes feels 75. My knees feel like they're 68 or 9. My mind seems like it's 27,
Right.
and that's not a good combination.
Right. Because like sometimes you think you younger than you really are, which can sometimes
Correct.
right. And that's kind of one of the things that throughout our workout program is that I'm conscious of. One of the things about our program is always live to fight another day. Right. The last thing we want to happen is for you to come in here and get hurt on something and somebody say what you was doing and you say box jumps. Well, someone that's in their 60s shouldn't be jumping on the box. Um, I go for the older generation, 60 plus, 50 plus, is health, um, mobility, agility, flexibility, and then strength. It's a combination of all of those things. And Mr. J and I, we work hand in hand on making sure that we have a good program that he can sustain once he leaves here, if he decides that. Um, I don't think it's just workout.
Correct.
I think our relationship has grown,
Correct.
and the fact that you can share things with me and I can share things with
Correct.
you. So talk to the viewer, the 67-year-old, the 60-year-old. He has a bum shoulder. His wrist is shot. He got a bad knee. He hadn't worked out in years. What would you say to that guy?
I would say expect to spend some time. Take your time. Listen to the instruction that's given by somebody who's trained in this field. I have grown to enjoy Stanley's company. His encouragement has been fantastic as far as keeping me pumped. Even when I didn't have it in me and I felt like there was nothing there, he was there to move me to one more try or two more tries, either in the free weight lifts or doing pull-ups or walking, trying to keep my balance. Lunges that I couldn't do in the beginning. At 6 months now, I can do full lunges in 3 different reps, and I could not do that without hanging on to something to begin with. So patience on your part. This is a teamwork, and he can't do it by himself. So when he makes a suggestion, it's a suggestion by him, but it's ultimately your choice.
Right, absolutely. And I wanna just piggyback off of that because it's you doing the work. I'm here to celebrate your success, right? It's not necessarily I don't want none of the credit, right? And I've told you that plenty of
Correct.
times. I'm the guy behind the scene. I'm the guy who is saying, hey, wipe that off of your face, or hey, tighten up right there. And then when you go out, you look amazing, and people just think that you just woke up like that, right? So that's kind of like that's the goal of any trainer slash coach. Let's talk about um, just the stigmas of a trainer, because most of the time individuals think that trainers are just this pump guy who's just gonna kick your butt. Talk to them about our journey, and the different workouts and the different sessions, and
Seems to me that trainers were for the elite, for the already people who had football training or basketball training or tennis training, and they were for specific training. And I felt like somewhere around I needed to have a, a coach, you might say, since I had never had one before. I needed somebody that could help me with a program, because being members of several different clubs did not help me with my own training. It was too easy to become distracted and do other things rather than go to the club and meet my own goals. And to have a personal trainer who could focus on the things that I needed done and that he felt like I needed to do in the capacity that my body could physically handle it seemed to be most important. So in this last endeavor, or the most latest endeavor, I found that now I'm able to accomplish things that are going to allow me to accomplish things in the future that I would not have the possibility of doing if I had not taken this step in my life.
so Mr. J, before we wrap it up, I still had this vision of you walking in the door, right? You got your cowboy hat on, right? Your plaid shirt, your countryman jeans,
Right.
right?
Ah,
And
my
like,
swag.
right, your swag, right? And you come in and we start talking about inspections, and it just seemed like this was an oh yeah, like oh yeah, that's oh you the workout guy. Let me try that. And I know that that's not the case. People don't just oh yeah workout. They don't oh yeah and fall into the hands of a trainer, right? So how did you come here? How did you get here? What was it that really brought you here?
Some of the people that I've done inspections for posted a Facebook page, and they were talking about having come into their training session and how much it had helped them. And they were much younger than me. As far as I know, they're in their early 40s, late 30s. And having seen that, that was in the back of my mind. And then having the opportunity to be called by a realtor to do an inspection, which in turn happened to be a home inspection for Stanley Reed. It was important to me that when I put the two together, that I was actually talking to the person who was training my other colleagues. And it was important to me to listen to the way he phrased things, the way he was excited about his work, and it mimicked the excitement I have in my job, and that's my passion. So when I meet somebody with equal passions, I try to learn from them in whatever capacity and whatever way I can. And this has been quite the experience to this point.
Well, Mr. J, as we wrap it up, guys, I can't stress this enough. Mr. J is in his 60s, and he's still rocking and rolling. Um, and the reason why I brought him here is to target that particular market, that 60 plus year old. Hopefully, the 60 plus year old, you realize that you still have some more living to do. You don't feel like it's over, and if you do, hopefully you can pull from his story and get some type of encouragement, some type of motivation or inspiration to get off of the couch, to stop watching so much TV, and get involved in some type of strength and conditioning work program. to help sustain a better lifestyle, to make sure that when you 67, when you 77, you don't feel like you 107, right? So hopefully Mr. J's story, just a snippet of it, can help encourage you to make better choices in your life. Mr. J, thank you as always. You're my guy, and hopefully you guys feel the same way about him as I do. Till next time, guys, stay strong.